Good evening, everyone. We're going to call this meeting to order. Today it is Tuesday, August 13th at 5 p.m. Regular meeting of Rialto City Council, acting as successor agency to Redevelopment Agency, the Rialto Utility Authority, and Rialto Housing Authority. Madam City Clerk, a roll call, please.
Mayor Robertson,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrie
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Present.
Councilmember Baca,
Present.
Councilmember Scott,
Present.
Forward.
acting deputy
Ford.
city attorney is Al Ford.
Present.
Yeah, I know who he was. I was just trying to write deputy. And interim city manager Mike Milheiser.
Present.
No, I'm sure you knew it. I just couldn't see his nameplate. City Clerk, that's all.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's Eric Bell, but I know his name. I was just trying to write it in here.
Okay, so with that, is there any other comments? If not, I will ask Deputy Attorney Ford, to lead us into closed session.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are 3 items on the closed session tonight. All 3 are a conference with legal counsel for existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. There are 3 matters, and all 3, including the titles and the case numbers, are listed on the agenda.
Okay. It doesn't look like there's anyone have any public comments. Is there anybody who has anything they would like to add or question? If not, I'll entertain a motion for closed session.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Trujillo, and I'll second it.
Second.
Oh, you'll second? Okay, Councilmember Baca. Any objections? Hearing none. No objections. We are in closed session at 5:02. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I would like to now call this regular meeting of Rialto City Council to order. Today is Tuesday, August 13th at 6:31 p.m. And this is our regular meeting, which is the meeting covering the City Council, also acting as successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency, the Rialto Utility Authority, and the Rialto Housing Authority. And with that, I would ask if our Madam City Clerk would do a roll call, please.
Mayor Robertson,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Carrie Souders,
Present.
Councilmember Scott,
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Present.
Councilmember Baca,
Present.
Acting Assistant City Attorney Al Ford,
Present.
Interim City Manager Michael Milheiser,
Present.
and City Treasurer,
Present.
thank you, Ed Correa.
Okay. So now I would ask if the members in attendance would be so kind as to stand and join Mayor Pro Tem Carrizales in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then please remain standing for invocation, which will be given by Pastor Javier Reyes. I think I got it right. I may not. So please.
Please join me in the pledge to our flag.
Let's go ahead and bow our heads as we open up in prayer. Father, we thank you in these moments, Lord, that as we gathered, that we would realize and just recognize, Lord, that there's no authority that has been given, Lord, other than from you. And I do pray as Mayor Robertson and the rest of the council gather today, and Lord, as they make decisions over these resolutions and amendments and just things that are coming up on the calendar, we pray that you would continue to lead them, that you would guide them, dear God, that you would instill them with a divine wisdom, dear God, as they make decisions, Lord, that not only for the city of Rialto, but, Lord, the inhabitants of the city, that they would remember, Lord, that they are elected officials, Lord, and they've been put into place to make decisions for the people of Rialto. And so I pray, Lord, that you would be with them, Lord, and be with us this night as we gather once again and make decisions here in this council chamber. And we ask and pray these things in the mighty name of Jesus. And we all said, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Right, please be seated. And now I would ask if our Deputy City Attorney, Mr. Ford, would report out on closed session.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's nothing to report out at this time.
All right, thank you. Okay. Well, we have a number of presentations, and I'm really happy that we do have things to recognize in our community. I would like to say that we have a memoriam for Mr. Marshall Sims, and that is going to be put over to our next council meeting because Mrs. Sims unfortunately is not in the area at the time. But at this time, I will be presenting first a memoriam to Miss Bello in honor of the passing of her husband. And then also I will be presenting a certificate of appreciation to Pastor Bracton. And then after that, Fire Association will have a presentation with American Heart Association, I believe. No?
No, we're gonna bring that back.
Oh,
That's why I
they did-
put in a little note right there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I saw the chief moving over there. I thought he's positioned himself for the podium. And then Councilmember Trujillo will do a recognition to Remigio Ruiz and Jonathan Guevara. And then also our police chief will do a update on the police station. So I'll take these down. And I would ask if Miss Bella, if you come up and join me. stepbrother, your brother to come on up with you as well. All right. I want to give a in memoriam for Abafini. I don't know if I'm saying it correct. Cody Bello. I want to share with people that it's odd when you have an opportunity to have a pen pal. Usually pen pals are somewhere away, in another state, another country, somebody you grew up with, and I had the pleasure of having a pen pal relationship with Mr. Bello, Senior Apostle Bello, right here in Rialto. I never had met him, but he started talking and texting me and calling on various things, and we really struck up a wonderful relationship. And his lovely wife here, anytime, he was just so gracious. And so I have the pleasure of meeting his family when they came in. Your son came in from Italy. The other son, his daughter, is in Canada, and one in Nigeria. But I did feel he came here, and he had always so much good intentions for this community that I really want to make sure that we have him in our records as well, so that we will know that he definitely passed this way. So I'm going to read briefly a little bit about him. Abafini Coyote Bello was born in Lagos on October 10th, 1957, and I'm going to hack up some names here, to Alzafi Latif Jasso Bello and Ninoli Victoria Bello. Afeni Bodhi started his education at Amdidia Primary School, his secondary education in Nigeria People's High School in Lagos Secondary Commercial Academy between 1971 and 79, after which he worked at the Nigerian Railroad Corporation from 1977 to 79. He furthered his education at Lagos State College of Science and Technology. And from there in 1979-83, and was also an insurance graduate. He also obtained a diploma in data processing at Debris Computer, which is at ICHIA, in 1991-92. He worked in different fields: insurance personnel, teacher while in Nigeria, security officer, automobile auction staff in America. And he was a member of many churches, choir teams. The latest one was Prachuria Church, formerly known as Abundant Living Family Church, located in Rancho Cucamonga. Abafini came to the state of California in 2002, and he was a resident of Rialto for over 16 years. And they moved to Rialto in May 2008. He became a citizen of the United States of America in 2016. He was a beloved father who left behind 3 beautiful children behind and hoping to reunite soon. God had a different plan for his family, but he stayed true and faithful to the end. And so it's with my honor and pleasure that I, along with my colleagues, the City Council, present this plaque of in memoriam, and this will always be in the official records of the City of Rialto as number 11, Series 2024. And so I present that to you, Miss. Yeah, thank you. Come on up and say something if you like. I know you don't want to. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mayor Robertson. You've been very supportive, and we did not take that for granted. Thank you so much, and may God bless you all.
Thank you. Yeah, that was what, no, I was thinking, intended. And then having a person who was very much involved in faith, and then having an opportunity to introduce and welcome to our community a new faith-based ministry. It's always welcome and always needed. I'd like to call up Pastor Bracton for Faith Point Ministry. And as he comes up, it is wonderful when you bring, so, and again, one more thing, it is such an honor and pleasure to have had the opportunity to be invited to come to your facility that was down in Shandon Hills, and where you guys was really practicing wonderful faith, interacting with kids in a, what do you say, kind of a planned industrial development community. But the way you use that on a Sunday to have kids being able to get out and have some activities and play, as well as fellowship and worshiping, that was fantastic. Then to find out that in a very young and very active ministry, then to find out that you had purchased the church at Eucalyptus and Victoria, from my understanding, which, if I believe, had been vacant for quite some time. So I wanted to take the opportunity to officially welcome your ministry, and being a faith-based partner with us, we really welcome that. We have a faith-based organization. I think I've introduced you to it. So it's the Certificate of Appreciation to Faith-Based Ministry. The City of Rialto expresses our deepest appreciation and welcomes faith-based ministry, continued faith-based commitment to our community. We commend your commitment towards strengthening the spiritual faith of your church members, as well as those you serve outside of our church. Again, this is presented to you on this day, the 13th of August, signed by myself and all of my colleagues, and we're very happy to have you here. I just want to say, I know when we talked briefly, you had indicated you would like to do a lot in our community. One, working, I think you told me, also with our youth, and of course with our law enforcement.
Yes.
Anything that you and your group could do to be in support of that. So I'm saying that, I'm restating it publicly,
Yes.
so the chief can hear me. He's over there in the doorway. There's so much opportunity. So I think we would love to let you have a few words to say, please. And again, thank all of your congregation for coming. And now you guys don't have to go elsewhere. You can just go right to Eucalyptus and Victoria. All right.
I just want to say, first of all, I just want to say thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to come and be a part of this occasion. And also, too, I'm born and raised in Rialto, California. So I went to Eisenhower High School, Ike Mob all the way. And so coming back home and doing this is honorable to God, but more honorable to my community. So coming back and being a part of a community where I was raised, played football and colleagues growing up, and to come back as an adult, now being a man and doing it all over again for the community. So I appreciate you. I'm excited to work with Rialto in a whole different way besides football, and ready to rock and roll. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ike Mob, what year? What year?
90,
What year?
94, 95. So
Oh, okay.
I got my ring on too. I just had to
That's
represent.
92, yeah, that's when we went to CIF.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Now with Councilmember Trujillo. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Good evening. If my assistant can come, oh, there he is. I have a presentation. Each year I present and recognize the work of volunteers or public service, individuals in public service who promote U.S. citizenship in honor of 4th of July. So I wanted to bring up Remigio Ruiz and Jonathan Guevara. Okay. And I don't know, is Luce here too?
Luce, she's in a meeting.
She's in a meeting. Okay. So, each year we highlight, in the past we've highlighted the work at the Rialto Public Library. We highlighted Emilio Amaya and others in our community who teach English as a second language and also promote civics classes, also promoting U.S. citizenship and help many of the applicants pass the naturalization test that they have to pass before they can, take the oath and become a naturalized U.S. citizen. So I wanted to recognize these two individuals who've given so much to our community, who spend a lot of time, a lot of patience with their students and are able to get them over that line and help them graduate and become, take the oath and help them become those U.S. citizens. So I wanted to give a little bit of time to Remigio Ruiz and Jonathan Guevara to say a little bit about their program. I know TODEC's been around for a very long time, kind of pillar of our community, but I just wanted to have them say a few words about some of the work that they do.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is an honor. My colleague and I, we're really excited about this. But the answer to the question is, what we do is we start from the grassroots. We start with people who are scared, people who are have trauma for decades, that immigration is going to take them, that they're going to deport them, that they have no rights, they have no benefits. So we start from there and we help them succeed. They become registered voters. They create their own jobs. They become self-employed. They move up to managers. They speak the language. They get integrated into California, into the United States. Some of them stay here. Some move out of state. But our mission is to help as human beings. We say nobody is illegal. We're all human beings. We all belong in the world, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to help one person at a time. And also, you guys are all invited to our festival. We celebrate 40 years in the community on the last Sunday of September in Paris, downtown Paris, at City Hall. We're going to have a huge celebration, so please come celebrate with us. And this is also my colleague. He wants to say a few things too. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, so hello, good afternoon. Like how my colleague Remigio said, it's an honor, to be here to receive this recognition. This is motivating to us, all we want to do is just see everybody succeed, and yeah, I have no words, honestly. I'm just really happy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So they mentioned they're based out of Paris, California, but they have different kind of cohorts. For a long time, they had one here in Rialto, Fontana, and these are our Rialto residents that have given so much to the program and to the individuals striving to become U.S. citizens. So I do have a 4th of July award that I give out every year. So I have my little plaques, and I'll read it to you. Again, it says, in recognition of your outstanding citizenship, demonstrating exemplary behavior through the completion of English and civic classes, we commend you for the significant accomplishment. Extend our serious congratulations. And signed by myself, Councilmember Rafael Trujillo, and the rest of my colleagues here. So again, thank you for your contributions and for helping a lot of our immigrants become U.S. citizens here in Rialto. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to take a picture?
We love you, Rialto. Thank you.
Mayor.
Councilmember Baca.
I just want to
me.
congratulate, just want to congratulate the organization. I know how difficult it is to try to make the transition in trying to work with a lot of the undocumented to become citizens. I know I traveled all over the United States trying to get comprehensive immigration passed, and it's a very difficult legislation because it's a divided wedge in our country. I think people misunderstand that people come to this country like anybody else for a better way of life. There's no different than anyone else who comes here. And passing comprehensive immigration, I think it's still important, needs to be addressed even at the national level. And I'm glad that we have an organization that is helping a lot of the people here to make that transition, because you want the same thing that every other person here in the United States wants, and that's the same kind of life that any American who has immigrated to this country has to. So I thank you, for being here and for providing a service to a lot of the people in need to make that transition and learn the English language and meet the requirements to ultimately become citizens here in the United States. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right, and then our last presenter will be our our chief, or he's pointing to someone in another direction, so someone is going to give an update. Oh, is he going? No, he doesn't
No,
have.
he's coming next week.
Well, you can go on and take the opportunity to brag,
Well, hopefully this thing.
Chief. I mean, you know, you might as well go on and brag about National Night Out. I mean, fired. Look at fired. Okay.
It's
We
over
will,
there.
Okay, so all of you sitting in the audience right now, I just want you to know, how many of you were at National Night Out? 2? You serious right now? Okay, next year we expect everybody to be there. So we had a brisket cook-off, city council versus the fire department and the police department. Okay, so y'all know that the fire department just does nothing but cooking, right?
Don't forget shopping.
And shopping, and a tiller. All right. But, you know, hate to break it down for you all, but the police department won again. And we make the best brisket in town, so, and it was all the folks that were there voted People's Choice for the council, 3rd place, and PD, I have 3 really great
That
chefs,
was
so.
first place. No, Chief, that was first place.
Oh, that's right.
Councils was first. You guys
That's
was
right.
the community choice. He was the judge's choice. So there we go.
Here we go.
to our update of the
All right, so-
wonderful police station.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem and council, it's just my monthly update. So I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. So this way I'm going to give you a couple, about 10,000 words.
Okay.
So instead of me standing here explaining to what you can't see, I thought, and my staff actually were the ones that came up with this and decided that they wanted to show it to you this way. So here we go. And gave probably a little bit of music there. There we go.
Okay.
So, Mayor Pro Tem and Council, I just want to express again from every employee at the police department our appreciation to you, because we realize that this wouldn't be happening without the committee, which is the mayor and Councilmember Scott and the rest of the council, for what you have approved for not only this city, but our new home for a police department. So that's the progress. Where it goes from here is probably mid-September. When I come back in October with you, I'll have the ground level, actually all the concrete will be poured for the base flooring, and then they'll do the tilt ups on that. So I really look forward to that. But thank you so much on behalf of the department.
Thank you. I was just going to say, you had 2026 there. Yes, was glad that you happened to come at a great time to get an update, but in the beginning it said 2026. So that's the date that we're looking for it to be open and available for ribbon cutting and open to the public for public
Summer
use.
2026.
Yes, and I just wanted to say if we could have taken a moment and did a freeze on one of those slides. So many people, and some of our intelligent ones, have seen the huge building going up behind, and they're going, why are we building a police station that large? That is not our police station, in case you want to know. That is not the police station, but originally they thought, my God, for our community, our size, to have that facility. That is actually an industrial facility project that took the place of what used to be the orange lumber, and I'm sure if you've been born and raised or raised up in Rialto, you know that that was orange lumber, and it had one shipment a week, and we had the train that came in to give one delivery a week. So now that's being developed, and I think it's going to also be a nice enhancement to the community. So I just wanted to let people know. So thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Anybody? Any comment? All right. That's it. The next thing we're moving along on the agenda is oral communication. And oral communication, we usually is open to discuss items that are not necessarily agenda related, but I would say that while we're holding them to 5 minutes, we try to make sure that the oral communications could really be somewhat relevant and germane to our community and the activities that we can actually have or effect some change on here in our community. So with that said, I'm going to ask the Madam City Clerk if we have anyone who has asked to speak on oral communication.
No, I don't have any here.
All right. Okay, with that, then we will move on to the next item, which is the council to consider anything that we need to remove or continue on the agenda item, or is there anything that anyone will be abstaining? I will note now, based on advisement of our Deputy City Attorney, that on the public hearing tab item number 1, I will be removing myself from the dais, and I will let Mayor Pro Tem Carazelis will preside over the public hearing. Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to pull E2.
E2? Okay. You'd like to pull it to have a presentation on it, or to have a discussion?
Discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so excuse me? Yes, I will be removing myself from dais for tab 1. But with E2, if you'd like a discussion, anything else, I would ask who would be responding to E2. Would that be Mr. Catali, or who's presenting on E2? Benson? All right. I should have worn a jacket.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem. and-
Good evening. Hi.
Hi. For your consideration, staff is recommending the approval of the public improvement agreement for public improvements along the northeast corner of Rialto Avenue and Lilac Avenue. On July 26, 2023, the Planning Commission approved the project for the redevelopment of an industrial site for approximately 300,000 square feet of industrial building. The public improvements include, but are not limited to, asphalt grind, overlay, street lights, driveway approaches, landscaping and irrigation, undergrounding of overhead utilities, and signing and striping. The public improvement agreement, together with security posted, will ensure that the improvements are completed to the satisfaction of the city engineer, and staff has determined that the public improvement agreement is ready for city council approval. Thank you. That concludes my report summary. I'd be
Madam
glad to
Mayor,
answer
if I
any
can, I could, make it shorter. If I could just ask a question.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question. First of all, I voted against this particular project because it's a warehouse, and the warehouse oversees the police department, and we saw the film a little bit earlier, and I was very much concerned when I voted against this because of the safety of our police officers, safety for the people in the immediate area, and the traffic congestion that it would cause. But I know that it passed on a 4-to-1 vote, with me being the only one voting against this. So I was very much concerned with, now that we're bringing it back up again, who's going to be responsible? Because I have no objection since it's already passed. And the only thing we're doing is improving the area in terms of what needs to be done. But who's going to end up paying for the improvements? Can you?
Yes, thank you for the question. So the developer will be paying for those improvements along Rialto and along Lilac Avenue. And those, to be more specific on the improvements, they'll be doing a grind and overlay on Rialto for half street, and it includes a lane in the eastbound direction.
And how wide would that be because that's going to be a little bit wider, because we're going to have a lot of traffic congestion with a lot of the trucks that'll be coming in. That's why I was concerned with our police officers having to respond to emergencies, and then, the trucking that will be coming in that area. And then I was afraid that there'd be a sniper trying to shoot some of our police officers from the top of that building. I mean, we just saw what happened,
So the roadway will remain the same width. It will be rehabilitated. So thank you for your concern. So the roadway won't be widened. It'll remain the same, but it will be a new roadway on their half, including all the undergrounding of the overhead utilities to clean up the area, and certainly more aesthetically pleasing, which is a benefit to the community in that regard. So to answer your question, there won't be any widening of the road, but there will be a rehabilitation of the road on both Lilac and on Rialto.
With that, I move approval then.
All right, thank you. Okay, thank you. I think you gave it as much.
Okay, you're welcome.
You moved approval. And are you moving approval for just on that item alone, or are we taking the whole consent calendar?
I'll take the whole consent item.
Any objections to the whole consent calendar?
Who made
He made a motion.
Okay.
Motioning consent.
Second.
And it's going to be second for the entire consent calendar by Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez. Any objections? Hearing none, motion carries.
You should put your mic on, Madam Mayor.
I'm so sorry. Yes, I was.
And then,
Thank you.
before we
Thank
go
you, Rob.
Before we go to this was just given to me to speak, and this is Veronica Perez on the oral communication. I just received it. So.
Okay.
And it's up to council to allow.
Well, no, as we said, I mean, the opportunity to speak, we have one person is speaking because.
That's all. This just was
Okay,
given.
all
so.
right. Then please proceed, but I take it then perhaps you weren't in the room. I was just saying your comments, as you do make them, but in terms of the matters that are here in our within our preview and what we can handle within the jurisdiction of Rialto. I just want people to be mindful that the comments, what the global situations are really not things that we can affect change on. But with
I
that
disagree
said,
with you, Mayor, and I will continue with my comments. Thank you
yes,
very much.
and I'm
If-
just letting you know that,
Thank
yes,
you.
you have the opportunity to have a public comment.
Thank you. I appreciate
But
that,
I hope
Mayor.
those listening understand that we cannot take action on it.
You can pass a ceasefire resolution, as many Southern California city councils have, to send a message to our elected officials who are
I'm
clearly
not debating you with it. I'm
Understood.
just sharing with you. Please
And I'm
proceed.
sharing my perspective as well,
Your
Mayor.
time is
Okay,
going.
that's fantastic. We can continue. As reported by CNN, more than 93 Palestinians were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a school and mosque in Gaza while people were performing morning prayers over the weekend. Israel confirmed the strike, stating they were targeting a Hamas command post, but provided no evidence. Many of the bodies were burned together, making it hard for rescuers to count the number dead. I saw videos of people collecting body parts in plastic bags. This was the 5th strike on a school by the Israeli military since August 4th. This has been happening for 10 months. I am witnessing the senseless killing of innocent people in the name of self-defense. This is clearly not self-defense. Now the U.S. is sending more service members to the region, and just today approved the sale of about $20 billion in military weapons and aircraft to the Israeli Defense Force. This is very simple. If you do not support a ceasefire, then you support more people dying. You support our service members potentially being stuck in another forever war in the Middle East that will not bring peace or security to anyone. When will we wake up and learn that bombing innocent men, women, and children is immoral and runs counter to a rules-based international order? There is no military solution here, and sending more bombs is only adding fuel to a fire that has decimated the Gaza Strip. Polio and hepatitis are on the rise, and children are suffering from awful skin rashes and blisters caused by contaminated water they have very little access to. I saw a video of a little baby who was wrapped in pieces of cloth to contain her open sores that were bleeding through her clothes. Children are dying in agony. Again, I ask, how is this self-defense? How is caging people and forcing them to flee with little warning or no warning at all before bombs drop down on them self-defense? This is slaughter, this is annihilation, this is being done with our tax dollars, which I would say affects every citizen of Rialto. I'm shocked and appalled that we as a society are silent. I am asking you to open your eyes. Only you can answer why you're able to look away at the real-time suffering of Palestinians. I'm asking for the opportunity to discuss drafting and passing a ceasefire resolution. We need to act now. We cannot let our leaders take us down a disastrous path where the hostages are forsaken and a seemingly endless amount of money, I don't know where we get it from, is dumped into a strategy of insanity. Listen to the words of Major Harrison Mann, who separated from the Army last May in protest of U.S. support for Israel's assault on Gaza. Quote, "It is clear there is no real plan underpinning the Biden administration's decision to accelerate deployment of aircraft and warships to the Middle East. It's simply more of the reflexive and unconditional support for the government of Benjamin Netanyahu that has only encouraged reckless escalation towards a wider war. 10 months into this war, it's time to think hard about why we're putting troops in harm's way. The most courageous Americans will be sacrificed to the whims of a foreign politician because their own leaders lack the courage to stand up to him." End quote. I am begging you to stand up and demand a ceasefire now, which you do have the ability to pass a ceasefire resolution. As I've stated, other Southern California city councils have done just that. So with that, I'll leave you. I'll see you next time you guys have a city council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So with that, now we'll move to tab number 1, and I will remove myself from the dice. You're doing tab number 1? Yeah, okay. Huh? Yeah, no, I was wanting to make sure we were doing the right tab. All right.
Tab number 1 is a public hearing.
There's 2 items tonight for CDBG. There's a second one later. I'm not sure if the mayor was required to recuse herself from this. Okay. Colby Catoli, Director of Community Development. I have Lisette Montoya here today from AGI, who implements our CBG programs and our upcoming home program, and she'll be able to make the presentation to introduce the item to you all.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Good to see everybody here today. Today I'm going to be presenting on the home program overview. So in order to program funds, the city must approve the use of the program through its action plan. Sorry, is the presentation going or do I press something? Oh, okay. Sorry. No? No presentation? Okay. Sorry, I thought a PowerPoint presentation was going to show. But good evening, everyone. My name is Lisette Montoya. I'm with Avant-Garde. I'm here today to present on the allocation of home funds. So in order for the city to be able to program home funds, the city must approve the allocation of the funds through its action plan. And so the city approves an annual action plan every fiscal year. And so today we are here to add the newly allocated home funds to the action plan, as well as amend its consolidated plan. In accordance with the city's citizen participation plan, the city must have a public hearing for this item anytime there's going to be an addition of activity, canceling an activity, or redirecting funds for HUD-funded programs. On May 18th, 2024, the city was notified by HUD that it was going to be receiving its first ever allocation of home funds. This noticing came after the city had already approved its annual action plan at its April 23rd meeting, which it approved the use of the CDBG funds. At this time, the city has elected to participate in the home program, and as mentioned, this is the first time that the city will be receiving these funds. The home program objectives provide an opportunity for the city to provide and expand the supply of decent and affordable housing, particularly for low and very low income residents. Eligible uses of home funds include acquisition, rehabilitation, new construction of rental and home ownership housing, direct home buyer assistance, and tenant-based rental assistance. I wanted to point out that as with the CDBG funds, the City Council will have an opportunity every year to give and provide direction to staff on what these funds will be utilized for. So the action for today is for planning of the funds for fiscal year 24-25. Based on the current need expressed by city staff, we are recommending that these funds be allocated towards a residential grant rehab program. City staff has expressed that they currently have an interest list of about 68 residents that have come in to inquire about funding for this program to allow them to provide repairs to their homes. So the city currently does have a mobile home repair program that is funded through CDBG, and so this would allow funds to be used for single-family residences.
What is the amount that you're asking for? Because there's matching funds too as well, right?
Correct. So the allocation that is being proposed. Sorry, let me find my amounts here. Sorry, it's on my staff report. One second. So the amount of matching funds is $125,000, and the home allocation would be $374,000.
Do we know how that would impact our
Council
budget?
member,
I'm sorry.
Can we hold the questions till the end of the presentation?
Yeah.
Please, it's a public hearing, so let's go ahead and let her continue.
Then we'll hold other questions. Thank you.
So as mentioned, we are recommending that the funds currently be utilized for a residential grant rehab program. And if the council approves this recommendation, then we will come back at a later date with actual guidelines and parameters of what the qualifying factors would be and the specific eligible repairs for the program. So today it's just an action to approve the staff to submit the plan to HUD so they can authorize the city to use the funds and provide a HUD agreement for the use of those funds. So as part of our recommendation today, we are asking for the city council to open the public hearing and receive any comments from interested citizens. Adopt a resolution approving the substantial amendment number 1 to the consolidated plan and authorizing the city manager to submit any plans and forms as required by HUD, and also authorize the finance director to add the allocation of home funds to the 24-25 fiscal year and identify an eligible match source. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Madam City Clerk, is there someone that's here to speak on this tab or has questions about it?
No one came.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
I got a motion by Councilmember Trujillo, second by Councilmember Scott.
To close the
Public
public,
hearing is closed.
To close public hearing.
to close the public hearing. Now the public hearing is
Is there, is there anyone that, Councilmember Scott?
Councilmember Baca was trying to ask some questions. Let's let him go first, please. Yeah, my question was just going to be, how is this going to impact our budget? When we, we're allocating, 2 cents, 374,669.26, and then matching funds of 125,530. What impact is this going to have on our budget?
So the 374,000 is the allocation that is being provided by HUD, and
Right.
it is on a reimbursement basis. And the match funding source, city staff is going to be identifying where that's going to be provided from.
And there's a couple different options. We are looking at housing authority funding that could accommodate that match, or obviously there's always a general fund match that could be applied as well. But when we come back for the program parameters, we will identify that funding source as well.
Yeah, if you can, let us know how it's going to impact the general fund when we use the matching funds, and then if there's any other place we might be able to go to get the additional dollars so it doesn't deplete our general funds.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But I have no objections to it.
Councilmember Scott?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just have a few comments. Back in the 1990s and the early 2000s, we had a similar program in the city where we provided grants and funding to residences to landscape their yards, put in sprinkler systems, paint their homes and stuff like that. So I'm in full support of this program. It's a good program. I would hope that we would specifically target certain things that we would like to see. For instance, we need to do water conservation in the city, so if it's permissible to use it for drought-tolerant vegetation in yards and to make some of our yards in our city look better, I totally support that. Painting homes, water heaters, those type of things that cost residents a lot of money, and those that can't afford to go to Home Depot and buy those items, this would be very helpful for them. So I think it's a good program. I support it, and I'm sure we can find whatever matching funds we need, either with housing funds or some of the projects that we have going up in the Renaissance area that are generating some dollars. So thanks for the good work and bringing this forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Trujillo?
Great. I've been wanting to ask a couple of questions. I do agree with a lot that has been said about, supporting our homeowners. I wanted to add trees to that list as well. we're part of the heat island, and we need to kind of cool down the city. So definitely want to add the trees. But for the source of the funding, you know, we just paid off the senior complex, the senior citizen center, and so that was taken off our loan payments. I just didn't see what new funding came out of paying that off. The only thing we're paying now is just what used to be the Bud Bender, or what is the Bud Bender Park. So I'm trying to find out where that money actually went, because now we have all this money freed up, but I just don't see it on the rolls. The second thing is, can this money come from the capital projects for CDBG?
So you cannot use federal funds to match federal funds.
Okay.
And home funds are very specific that they need to be used to, as I mentioned, to help with the housing stock. So it's very specific use of funding, where CDBG, you have a little bit more flexibility in terms of capital improvements, service organizations, you know, there's different uses like that with the CDBG funds.
Could these funds be used for mixed-use projects?
These funds could be used for mixed-use projects that are providing affordable housing.
Okay,
So it has to be affordable housing.
Could it be like a retail housing project?
It could be a retail housing project, but the units would have to be very specific that they're identified as affordable. And so the subsidy that, for example, if you're looking to provide a subsidy to a project like that, there would be a calculation based on the number of units that are being developed to provide the affordable housing.
Okay, I only asked that because I think we're looking at something for a project to do retail housing as a model for our community, and I thought this would be a great fit for it.
Yeah, and every year, I mean, right now, this is the first time the city's receiving these funds, so you're set to receive $374,000. But next fiscal year, the allocation should be about $700,000 or more. So it's based on population and the formula that HUD puts together. So you will be getting more of a substantial amount next fiscal year.
So the matching grants can be state and they can be other kind of local funds?
Yeah, they can be state and local. It cannot be federal.
Got it. Okay. That really kind of gets a better idea of kind of what I was looking at. I could definitely see different uses for it. I can definitely see us kind of leveraging these funds with other kind of funds to be able to provide opportunities for our residents. Thank you.
Councilmember Baca.
Thank you. Just a quick question. And where are we in reference to making sure that we're providing affordable housing, or what do we need to do to make sure that affordable housing is also available, not only now but in the future, and in compliance both with federal and state?
I'll let staff answer.
That's an excellent question. There are tools, when each housing project comes in the door, typically they're market rate. Of course, as we saw across over at the MetroLink development of those 55 units, it's 100% affordable. When developers come in the door, the conversations, you know, can start to change if council so supports it, that we start asking, you know, developers to prepare projects that include 10% affordable units, 15% of the units to be affordable, somewhere in that ballpark. Often a market rate project, when you have 50 or 100 units or more, they can include some affordable units in that project. But at this time right now, we don't have a policy that is designed to regulate projects coming in. So they're all market rate. There's not a lot of affordable options. One way to deal with that is to regulate some affordable housing in our residential projects. That's an old term would be, you know, inclusionary housing type ordinance, which would require residential developers to come in with some type of offering of affordable units. That's one way to do it.
So we need to hopefully in the future develop some kind of a policy to regulate and to make sure that we're moving in the right direction, so this way we can have affordable housing for many of the people that would like to get into it, and then based on the criteria that is set forth. Right?
Yes, and right now the city's RENA count for this cycle, the sixth cycle, is, you know, there's 8,000 units and change in totality. over 50% of those units are required to be affordable.
Mhm.
So that's a big bite that we need to get into.
And then we also need the land to make sure that we can build, is that correct? Affordable
Yeah.
housing.
And we do have housing sites identified in our housing element, which will be coming back to council for consideration in the next month.
Thank you. With that, move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Baca, second by Councilmember Trujillo. Any opposition? Hearing none, public motion carries. That brings us to tab 2. Yes, we'll wait.
Is the mayor coming back? She's coming back.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Tab 2.
I mean, she's coming.
She'll come in.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, members of City Council. Before you this evening is the receive and file of the 2022-23 audit report. The audit was conducted by our external auditors, Lance, Soul, and Lungard. One of the audit managers, Riley Greenlee, is here from the auditing firm, who will do a brief presentation on the audit, on the process, on the results of, and the results of the audit. So, you want to use that, Lily? Thank you.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. Appreciate being here. As Mark introduced,
Thank you.
my name is Riley Greenlee with LSL CPAs, and here to present about our 2023 financial audit. Quick introduction to the audit team here. Ryan Domino, our partner, and Calvin Kunkel, the other manager, unable to make it here, but do want to preface this presentation. If any questions or concerns about the audit or comments in the future, all members of our team are available. You can always reach out to us anytime during the year. So LSL was engaged with the city to conduct the 2023 financial statement audit. We do this audit in accordance with general accepted accounting principles and government auditing standards. We break up our audit into 2 phases. The first phase we nicknamed the interim fieldwork. So we did this back in May of 23. During this time, we go through all internal controls around the financial process of the city. We look to provide feedback to management on best practices that we see, or any potential weaknesses or areas of improvement that we can find. This kind of feeds into our overall risk assessment for the audit of the city and our year-end planning of the procedures to address those risks and perform test work. Which brings us to phase 2, our year-end field work. Most people, when they think of an audit, this is the phase that they're thinking about. We do a detailed testing of account balances. We reconcile out, your balances. We test invoices, checks, cash receipting, try to substantiate any items like that. We also look at some compliance over any, laws, regulations, grant agreements, or other, contract procedures that you have. And then any other procedures that we need to give us reasonable assurance to put opinion on your financial statements. So what are the results? We issued an unmodified auditor's opinion on your financial statements. So what does that mean? This is the highest opinion that we can issue on a city audit. We are essentially saying your financial statements are accurate and reliable as of June 30th, 2023, and we had no issues in that sense. We do have 2 internal control letter items to report that do not modify our opinion. We had 2 instances of material weakness over in controls that we found, one of which was also a material non-compliance, and those are both included for you in that internal control letter that we issued. Other items we're required to disclose with you. We identified no going concern doubts as of June 30th, 2023. Essentially, we have confidence in the city's ability to operate within the near future. We identified no fraud, waste, abuse during the fiscal year either. We had no disagreements with management about the application of accounting principles or any transactions that we went over. We did encounter some difficulties during the audit, which you saw the timeline and issuance date for this audit, due to that implementation of the new ERP system and the allocation of resources. All other estimates that we reviewed by management when we were preparing and reviewing the financial statements were reasonable. Finally, we like to update on any changes this fiscal year compared to last. The city did adopt a new accounting principle, GASB 96, subscription-based information technology arrangements. It is essentially the same as the prior year lease accounting principle, GASB 87. Any software agreements that the city has, say your ERP system or something like Office 365, sets to have the city record like an asset on their books for that subscription, and then a liability in turn for what the city owes. That's all I have for my presentation. Happy to take any questions or questions you might have.
All right, thank you. Did anyone have any questions or comments? Councilmember Trio?
No, I was just looking at some of the citations you had on your final letter to us, and I saw that there was maybe a disagreement over some GASB financial statements, and maybe can you elaborate a little bit about that?
We had no disagreements with management. We noted the two items, the material weakness and one of which was also material noncompliance. Both were addressed and did not alter our opinion in any way. So those were recorded, as under GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles in the end.
Okay, I just wanted to kind of clarify that. I saw your notations. Want to just make sure that everything's good. Thank you. I'll move.
Well, I have a comment.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll still move.
Being courteous,
Okay.
let you go first. I have a question as well, though. And I read those letters as well, and I also saw what your comment, your conclusion was. But I did, in your presentation right here, you did mention that you did encounter some difficulties during the audit due to implementation of the new ERP system. And I think that became an apparent factor. And so I would like to know, what did you see as the difficulties, or more importantly, was there anything that you would have recommended the way it was rolled out, implemented, or should it have been done, provided it being implemented at a different time? So that's been a concern as to the way in which, I guess, the ERP came about at a time when we're in a space of trying to do an audit. And so timing and how it was brought in, I'm hearing it was different things somehow it did affect being able to get a clear and complete handle of what's going on. Do you have anything else you could add to that other than, because the word difficulties indicates it was a difficult process to reconcile something.
Right. I appreciate the question. We consult a lot of our clients, cities across California, on ERP implementations. One thing I always think is there's no good time to implement a new ERP system. There's usually difficulties and delays that do come with that. As far as timing going forward, I would turn it over to Mark and Janet and their team for things maybe that they would see.
I guess I'm wondering, is there, with the system itself, is it, what do you say, of high standard? Is a great system to put in place? Was the difficulties just in the implementation, the timing, or is there difficulties in the system, utilizing the system? And so you could, good evening.
Good evening. So in any implementation,
the most important thing is you have to put in all the work ahead of time. It's got to be organized where there's multiple levels of what we call parallel testing to make sure that every process you're going to run when you go live, you've practiced it enough so when you go live, it's going to run correctly. Unfortunately, I don't believe that all of the practices were done to the level that they should have been done. So when the city went live, there was a lot of issues that came up, which meant that city staff had to put a lot more time as we are live to figure out problems, fixes, things like that. What that meant was that there was staff time that was pulled that should have been used during the time of when the city should have been closing the books, starting with the audit. That had to be pushed back because the resources were focused on the system implementation. So that's the crux of why the audit timeline got pushed back to finishing up now.
All right, thank you. That's why I was looking to you, colleagues, so you could speak, but go ahead, Councilmember Baca.
Thank you. What did you mean by practices that should have been, you know?
So whenever you're implementing a new system, there's all of the processes that have to be done literally on a daily basis. You have to run checks when you're processing checks to be sent out.
And who should be responsible for this?
So when you start an implementation, if it's a financial system, then you're going to coordinate that obviously with the finance director. If there's someone else who is going to be organizing it, but you also sometimes you will have what we call a project manager, and that person is given the responsibility of you are the day-to-day lead person for the project. Because this implementation, normally implementation could take anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and we're talking having a number of people dedicated on a day-to-day basis to do the testings, to make sure that as the new software is being put in, it's configured to the way the city is running their processes. It isn't you pull the software off the shelf and you load it and it's going to work. Every organization does things a little bit differently, so you've got to figure out what we do differently versus the software and make those tweaks. So those are all part of the practices that have to be done. And in a financial system, there are so many different what we call modules: accounts payable, accounts receivable, billing, cashiering, payroll, budgeting, financial account. So there's a lot of practices that have to be done on multiple levels. So it's definitely an organized front that has to be done, but there's usually 1 or 2 key people that make sure that all of the people that are working on it stay on task and making sure all the practices get done in a timely manner before you go live.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just thank you both for that state clarification. When you put a word out there, difficulties, it's just like hangs in the air. So let's talk about it. And I think for me, I also feel like we're past that. It's not like we're going to get a new system, another new system. So that was the hurdles.
No, the city has a very good system, and every day we're learning more and more, and we've got the support. So it's
all right. Thank you.
It's learning. It's becoming a better system.
There was an action on this.
Second.
I believe Councilmember Trujillo moved and Mayor Pro Tem Carazella second. Any objections to receiving the report? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to tab number 3.
Cynthia Alvarado, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Services. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. The item before you this evening is to request City Council review and update the city's CDBG CV programs and funding guidelines, and to provide staff direction on initiating an application period for the distribution of CDBG CV funding to community service organizations. Miss Anna from AGI is going to come up here and give you the presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. We are going to talk about CDBG CV, and that is specifically the funds that the city received to assist with the issues that related to the pandemic. A little background, federal government provided supplemental community development block grant funds, and they did the name CDBG/CV for coronavirus. The funding is utilized to help prepare, prevent, and respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. When the monies came in, any changes in how we were going to use the funds needed to be amended through a substantial amendment to the action plan. And it was the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 action plan that was amended. And then subsequent to that, there's been 6 amendments since then. And anytime you're going to reallocate funds or reprogram monies, the amendment will always go back to that action year. So that annual action plan year will always be the year that you will amend your plan when you want to reprogram your dollars. So on July 18th, we met with the ad hoc committee, and we discussed the status of the program and the funds that are available to be reprogrammed. And out of the direction from the ad hoc committee, we are now seeking council's collective direction to do 2 things. One is to update or change, amend the storefront small business assistance guidelines. And the other would be to receive direction on initiating an application period for community services organizations to submit applications for the use to reprogram some of the remaining unused CDBG CV dollars. So with regards to the storefront small business assistance program, we currently have 5 applications under review. If those applications, I guess, are deemed eligible, we would be able to anticipate expenditure of $46,000. The applicants are experiencing difficulty meeting some of the eligibility requirements per the current guidelines. And some of the input we received is that the documentation for some of these businesses in this application period would like to present more current documentation. So the guideline changes are to extend the period of time that they can report their documentation. Currently, it's only through 2022, and we'd like to give them that extra year to submit documentation up through 2023. So they utilize mostly their revenue receipts and their tax documents to deem eligibility, which has to show an impact from COVID. That's one of the changes. And so the change is simply to add that extra year, and that's based on feedback we received from some of the applicants. The other direction that we're asking for, let's see, is with the remaining funds that are available to be reprogrammed in CDBG CV, part of those funds could be identified for public services, and the ad hoc would like to see if the council would be open to receiving applications, so we could solicit applications from nonprofit organizations and city departments to identify eligible programs and then requesting funds. It would go through your normal subrecipient application process, and we would be able to come back to the ad hoc and then subsequently come back to the council to request for approval of the use of those dollars. The let's see, in order to move forward with reprogramming the dollars, it will require a substantial amendment. So this is just a step to receive direction if the city is inclined for us to go ahead and issue out a request for proposals to utilize those CV dollars. So those are the two items that we would like to receive some guidance from you.
All right, thank you. Any additional questions or comments? I believe, as she said, that was the ad hoc committee's recommendations to allow for, and I think really needing to stress that the money that we found that had not been expended was somewhat designated specifically more for the needs in the community at the time. Am I correct or wrong?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is very much common throughout, the state and actually the nation, is that as we get further away from COVID, the pandemic, there's different types of needs and uses for the funds.
Yeah, and I just wanted, because I can't speak, I'm gonna let Councilmember Trujillo speak, but I think I felt we really looked at how do we redirect and where we could put some of the funds to make some benefits to the community. And one of them that I definitely felt would be valuable to the community was the touchless water fountains that we could put out and around in our civic spaces, and people could be able to access water, which we currently don't really have that available to people right now, so even on this facility itself. But Councilmember Baca.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick question. How do you go about soliciting applications?
So the process is we would publish in the paper a notice of available funding, and there would be an application that will be posted on the city website. It would look very similar to your annual process for soliciting applications for regular CDBG funds. We would reach out to any of your current participants and any recent participants over the years. We would send them basically an invitation to look through the documents and submit an application. The applications then come in, there would be a closing period, a due date, then those applications will be reviewed for eligibility, and within the application it has to describe how it's going to be eligible under the requirements of CV. So how is it going to help the community respond to the impacts of the pandemic? They also have to demonstrate their nonprofit status. They have to submit a budget, and the budget has to be reasonable. All of those things would be reviewed and then presented to staff with recommendations based on the rankings. And then once there's only so much money, there would be a determination by the ad hoc committee, a recommendation by the ad hoc committee for how that potential funding would be divided amongst the applicants, and then that would be brought back to city council as a substantial amendment for your consideration.
Do you have a marketing plan in place in terms of how you go out after the solicitation of the applications? Because you just mentioned a couple, and then I look at our cable TV, and I mean, I didn't hear you mention our cable TV. As far as advertising there or looking at, other than the newspaper, than the website.
We email directly to your past applicants, and if there's any other nonprofits that would like to receive the application, we can send it to them, but there's nothing prohibiting putting, a flyer or however you do it on your cable. You would be able to do that as well.
I feel that maybe we need to develop some form of a marketing plan in reaching out and letting people know that these funds are available and what the requirements are, because we might solicit someone new, so this way it's not the same ones always getting the CBG funds that are coming up. And I know it's the ad hoc committee that makes that decision and makes those recommendations back to us, but hopefully that we could start seeing other nonprofit organizations apply for some of these funds that may be available that they may qualify for.
Yeah, I think the amount that we were talking about was about 100,000. Am I correct? How much was left that we were looking?
As of right now, it's 140,000.
Oh, 140. Okay, yeah. So, and it's due to be should be expended by 2027. Is that
26?
26. Okay.
I think it's September of 26. Let me see.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, February 2027.
I thought I heard a
I can
2027, but that's
read- I
okay.
can read her lips. Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
So we're in no rush.
No, but we need recommendations. So do you guys have recommendation or direction? This is the recommendation of the ad hoc. Councilmember Trujillo.
There are a
you
couple
got your
eye-opening things at the subcommittee. One of them was, I guess, the cost of administering the programs, depending on the kind of activities that you do for it. I'm thinking maybe going through this process of opening up it would probably drive up some costs on your end.
We have to administer, the process, yes.
Yeah, they already have.
The other question I had was, I believe we were focused on one area, and that was kind of like a food bank type of program, and so this will solicit projects for that specific kind of public service, correct?
I'm sorry, say again, please.
So we were looking at like the food bank program, and this is specifically to solicit for that specific public service?
No,
Or is it left
no.
open?
The goal today is just to seek direction if you as a body are open for us to solicit applications for the unused dollars. That's what we're asking today. We're not identifying uses at this time. We're just asking if we can, if that's something you want us to do, is to actually solicit for applications, and then how the uses of those funds would come forward through the ad hoc and then a substantial amendment for your consideration.
What happens if we don't spend that money?
You return it.
Oh, that's terrible.
And again, I don't think, and you were the other half of the ad hoc committee, one of the things we did a rather extensive discussion was broadening the base on nerve services that might be available to people who have been impacted by COVID and in that situation. So I don't think it was just the food bank, but I think there was I remember other services that people have been indicating they need. So I think you have to wait and see what the applications bring forward and what kind of services that they could provide. That's where I thought we left it. So if there's no objections, I'll make the motion to move on the direction that the ad hoc committee had presented. Get a second, or you guys still have some other directions you want to go?
I'll second your motion.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved by myself and seconded by Councilmember Scott. Is there objections to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries.
Good evening.
Now, we're on to tab number 4. How about 4?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you tonight is a request to approve the Fifth Amendment to the Professional Service Agreement with DePuja Wells for a total amount not to exceed $844,600 for additional services for the Rialto Habitat Nature Center and additional support services as needed for their consulting. We have in the audience with us DePuja, and he's available here to answer any questions if you have them.
Move approval.
Second.
I didn't even get to open up my lightsaber. We had a motion to move approval by, I believe, Councilmember Scott. Was there a second?
Yeah, we can.
A second by Councilmember Trujillo. Any objections? Hearing none, motion carries. They want to choke on the lifesaver.
You almost did.
Tab 5. Sorry, guys.
Did you get your lifesaver, Mayor? You good? Well, good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, Tim Sullivan, Director of Public Works. So for your consideration tonight is the adoption of a resolution authorizing a transfer of $3,250,000 from the city's general liability fund to the capital projects fund and appropriating the funding towards the Public Works Administration Building Restoration Project. Award a construction contract to Marcon Engineering, Inc. in the amount of $3,179,019.25 for the project. authorize a contract change order request in the amount of $446,366 with Fountainhead Corporation pursuant to the city's on-call agreement. And they'll provide construction management and related services for the project. And lastly, authorize the city manager or his designee to execute all related documents.
Move approval.
Second. Any objections to the motion? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Tab 6.
Are you serious right now? Madam Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, tab 6 is actually a continuation of the department's computer-aided dispatch and records management system. It's an
Move
upgrade.
approval.
Second.
Thank you so much.
I had a question.
You guys are getting a little loud down there.
You heard there was a first and a second. I have my lifesaver. I did notice one thing in the action and recommendation was that we're giving the authorization and direction to city manager or designee to execute document on any changes or increases in service. I just wondered, what were you kind of thinking about in increases in services?
So we're getting close to actually picking a vendor. I just have to take it back and have a committee meeting. So this amount of money is actually going to be placed in towards the consultancy as we move forward with the selection of the process. So in the event, unlikely, but in the event we needed to increase that purchase order because of the implementation, then we wouldn't have to come back to council. It would be there already. And I guess the best way that I can explain it to you, not drawing on upon a previous tab, is to tell you exactly what happened to us with ERP implementation is what we're going to avoid with PD implementation.
You wonder where I was going, huh? Because I thought, if we need to know now, I really want to make sure we work on a very robust, comprehensive plan for drones.
Oh, yeah.
Call for the vote.
Again, and I have Dennis.
Any objections?
Yeah, the drones are coming, ma'am. Thank you.
No objections.
Thank you.
Good pass. Well, I know you just gonna have a hard time with the eye in the sky. Get over it.
I'm gonna send my drone over to your house.
Sorry, that concludes our business for the day. And I think the thing we must do before we go forward is ask Ms. Alvarado to come up and let us know what's going on in Rialto.
All right, good evening.
Now, I'm
Lots
already-
going on and lots to prepare for.
We have 2 luau's in.
We have 4 months until the end of the year, and we are gonna jam pack that with all of the fun.
Okay.
All right, so starting today through the 16th at the Carl Johnson Center, we'll be hosting our sports skills assessment from 6 to 8 p.m. Tiny Tots Back to School Night will be tomorrow, August 14th at Hugh Banks from 5 to 6 p.m. Our senior luau summer barbecue dance will be this Thursday, August 15th at Grace Vargas Senior Center from 3 to 6 p.m. The Tree Care Summer will be happening Saturday, August 31st. We're gonna meet at 1560 North Lilac from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. And then your save the dates. Our Sports Hall of Fame will be Saturday, September 7th at the Johnson Center starting at 5 p.m. We have Petapalooza Saturday, September 21st at the Civic Center from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Viva La Fiesta will be Saturday, September 28th at Jerry Eves Park from 5:30 to 9 p.m. Walk Like Mad will be Saturday, October 5th at Joe Sampson Park, starting at 7 a.m. And our next council meeting will have a handful of other events that will also be on our save the date.
All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so who would like to go first? Reporting? Raphael?
Yeah.
Councilmember
I just
Gray.
wanted to welcome everyone back to school. This has been the second week now that everybody's come back. I just wanted to, I know I've been driving out there with many of you, and I just wanted to make sure that, to let you know to please abide by the rules when it comes to approaching school buses. And when the buses are flashing the red lights or they have the little stop sign, that means kind of got to wait until the bus kind of continues. So I just want to make sure everyone out there is mindful of the school buses. I want to make sure all the kids that are getting on the buses are safe, and that's something that I kind of been noticing over the last couple weeks. Other than that, I just wanted to wish everyone back to school. My daughter celebrated her 13th birthday, so I was really excited about that. And other than that, that's all I have to say for today. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Scott?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just want to thank my fellow council members for coming to my house and working their shift, watching the brisket. That's why we were so successful this year in winning the People's Choice Award for the best brisket in Rialto.
Right.
I'd just like to add there was some lobbying for certain tasting, and of course police was probably the biggest lobbyer there, so I'm just kind of curious how they always win. But
just remember, they won the trophy that was selected by the 3 judges that probably knew the least about brisket. And we won People's Choice because the people chose us.
Well said.
Okay, well, Councilmember Baca, would you
Oh, thank you, Madam Mayor.
show up? And
Yes, I attended the basketball championship that was held on July 27th at the Johnson Center, and hopefully that one day that we can expand the Johnson Center and modernize it too as well, to compete and allow other individuals to utilize it. I also went to the drowning prevention on Saturday, July the 27th, and that was done at our pool here in the city of Rialto. Quite a few people attended that, along, of course, with the championship game. I also went to, and the mayor was there present at this one, the Monday night flag football game that was well attended by many of the individuals, and this was with the Rialto Panthers versus the public safety. I don't know if we got beat or if we won, but it was fun and it was good, and it was a fundraiser and helping the Rialto Panthers and the youth in our city. Also, along with, I saw the only one I can mention that I saw there, National Night Out. I did see the mayor and Ed Scott at National Night Out. It was well attended by many of the residents of the city of Rialto that were present, and I believe the people really enjoyed a lot of the entertainment that was done that night. I was not there for the cook-off or the presentation of the trophy because nobody let me know that that was going to happen, but that's all right. The next thing is that I also attended this weekend the Hispanic Small Business Coalition Art and Entertainment event that had a mixer to talk about arts and the entertainment in the world, and that was held at Rancho Cucamonga on Sunday. So that's all I have to report.
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. Yes, the National Night Out was another success, and I think the K-9 and the SWAT team demonstration really gathered a lot of people's attention. I think every year we end up adding more to that presentation, so I really want to thank our police department and all the SWAT team and the K-9 handlers for putting on such a good presentation. There we go. Putting on such a good presentation. I think it had half the National Night out people checking that out, and they really did a good job with that. And lastly, I attended the opening ceremonies for RYSL, the Rialto Youth Soccer League. Well attended. I want to make sure that in the future we try to find more spaces in our city for soccer. And I know there's some fields out there that we could probably look at, but it's it's a growing sport, and we really have to take the opportunity to try to find some spaces because.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Any opposition to?
Wasn't agendized, sorry, guys.
Any opposition either way?
Oh, no, I'm not opposed to soccer fields. I'm just opposed to them being out.
In the open. Well, we could get closed
I'm
ones.
for enclosed.
Indoor.
Do a stadium.
Indoor.
Indoor soccer fields, anything that would help
You
our
know,
youth
You
because.
can tell it's an election year, can't you?
I don't know.
I've been proposing that before the election started.
Can we stay on point? Yeah. Are you
Anyway,
concluded?
that's all. I'm concluded. Yes, that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll get indoor soccer fields, okay?
Okay, thank you. I would like to take the opportunity. I have a couple of things, but I've seen our students sitting here all night. But one point of clarification, when you talked about Councilmember Baca on the American League, we went to the flag team and it was really great. And you said public safety. I think there was only one aspect of public safety out there, and that was the police department. Fire stood on the sideline.
They didn't let him play.
Well, that's I got a whole bunch of stories, and but I wanted to say, and I have talked to the guys out front. We're going to work on that, but I want to take a moment to bring up and introduce. I believe I introduced one of my students interns who's with us, but I also wanted to introduce another student intern. So I'm asked them to both come up. Even if I had introduced Amaya Bolton, please come to the podium and along with Michelle. And I would like you guys to take a few minutes, share with people exactly who you are. And if you leave out something, I will be definitely as a proud person to point out all the wonderful attributes you have that you failed to mention while you're having mic moments. So Amaya, introduce yourself first, and she will be with us during the year. Amaya.
Hello, my name is Amaya Bolton. I'm currently a senior at Carter High School. I am the ASB class president, or student body president, yeah. I was my school's Girl State delegate this summer, so I got to go up to Sacramento and do some non-government things. It was really nice. I was really fortunate to do so. Yeah, I've been her intern for, I want to say, coming up on 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a great opportunity and a good honor to get to know you guys and help the city out. So.
Okay, so you guys will see Amaya with as our school schedule permits. They're in full time, and she's got a full schedule, but she is here working on various projects with us. And then Michelle, I know that she's sitting in the audience and been there a while and may stay up or late, but Michelle, go on and introduce yourself and let them know what grade you're going into and then where are you departing.
Okay. Hi, my name is Michelle Makara. I actually live in Dubai and I'm starting my freshman year in high school. I just started interning for the mayor this summer. My grandma has a store here in Rialto, and I want to put this on my college application because I want to go to UCLA. Yeah, I really like helping.
But you are living in Dubai. But where were you born? You announced that over the weekend.
I was born in San Diego, California.
So she's a Californian.
And I live in Yorba Linda.
I always see where you got her from.
No. No,
Trying to figure out how you got her.
She's actually our business owner. The business will come up on its 40th year, and that is Century Flooring, which used to be Discount Flooring, and her grandfather is I think you knew her grandfather.
We knew your grandfather well.
He's in Lebanon, right?
Yeah, he's in Lebanon.
Yeah, so she's departing on Thursday, heading back. You leave Friday back to Dubai. Anyway, she's enjoyed really getting to know
Cool.
the community where she pretty much has grown up.
She
So
was working out at the
yeah,
farmer's market last week.
yes, she was passing out ice cream during.
Oh, I didn't get any ice cream.
So
Taking care of your health.
anyway, I really have been honored and a pleasure. She has had both of them have had the opportunity not only to be involved here, but they've done community services down at Valley College, where they were passing out 1,500 backpacks. And so she's had the opportunity to really get her, as well as Amaya and them, familiar with not only giving here in our community, but helping out in other areas. So thank you. And other than that, just want to say thank you guys to all of getting through what we have done. Have nothing more that I really need to report. I do want to say National Night Out was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. And Councilmember Baca, take a piece out of my playbook. I've learned to come late and stay late.
That's what it is.
Because that's when they do the final decision on who's winning the trophy. So with that,
Rigged though, huh? It wasn't rigged, huh?
It was rigged.
Oh, one guy says yes, the other guy says
No, I'm telling you, City
I'm
Clerk
only
McGee
listening
did an excellent job in keeping the contestants away from the tent, and it was a secret
But
system. You did a really good job with that. Your staff did, and you.
Yes, thank you. And it was five secret judges that did all the tasting.
yes.
So
We had some good, and some
Yes.
judges that even came from other communities, so
they was from all over
Over
the
different-
IE in
mhm,
different
So-
locations, so
so.
it was nothing rigged, no.
Nothing
They
rigged.
didn't know,
was
they
really
didn't
good.
know his
But
brisket
I
from
think,
anyone's
is there a
brisket.
report out as to how much was able to be raised for? The effort was to support Matt.
It was to support Matt, and I do want to thank the police department and the fire department and the community for coming out doing that, and also thank Councilmember Scott for championing the MAD organization and to do that. And as we move forward, and I hope we keep it going, the MAD for Walk is
October 5th.
October the 5th down at Joe Sampson Park. So this is one of the first events that we hold to try and continue to raise money for that, and we are continuing. So I think we raised like $500 or $600 because we ran out of brisket. We actually literally ran out of brisket, and I had to stop selling. So
It was a good event. And I wanted to also, I failed to mention, Councilmember Baca shared that we at one time had two Pop Warner and football teams. Now we're down to just one, and it's former junior All-American league that was with Mr. Silva, and it's moved up to Ferguson, and they're doing flag football at various levels. And so while I was there, along with Councilmember Joe Baca Jr., supervisor, he made a donation of $2,500. The league is in some desperate need of resources, and I made a commitment that I would give from the discretion funds we had $1,000, and I would strongly encourage my colleagues to consider giving something to the league as well to keep them going and keep going. So
Yeah, the mayor put me on a spot, and I said that I would do 500.
yeah, so everything counts. So I would ask that you guys give some consideration to that, because they're back trying to. And one thing about it, someone came and from Riverside, and the gentleman just said to me he wished that we could come over to Riverside and help build that level of a stadium. Ferguson, it was really impressive with what the Ferguson Park looks like. So with that, if there's nothing else from city manager?
No, nothing this evening. It was a very good meeting.
City treasurer? Deputy? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any objections? Hearing none, thank you. We adjourn at 8:16.